also displaced places like Brixton here in London, places like St. Paul's in Bristol where I'm from, Toxteth in Liverpool, Mosiah in Manchester. These are our spaces, our areas. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing in Bristol, our journey, our reparations journey, our self-repairs journey. I'm going to start a little anxiously because I know we've got Celestine up next, who's a great singer. I'm not. But a call and response song that I'm sure we all know. Limbo, limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo like we. Everyone knows it? Yeah? A bit of a response, come on. So, limbo, limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo like we. And I start with that because during a process we're just coming through in Bristol about memorial, remembrance. And I learned from one of our esteemed poets and now ancestor who passed away, I think last year or the year before, Kamal Brathwaite, and his poem, Limbo. Limbo, to be neither here nor there, to be left in limbo, to be on the border of a certain hell, or a Caribbean dance. Who knows the limbo and the stick of the limbo? But did you know, and I learned it through this poem, that the limbo dance itself was a memorial by our ancestors documenting their experience of being taken from our motherland and travelling the stick that was enslavement and the middle passage to a so-called new world. That's how they memorialized it. So when we think about memorial, it doesn't have to be a statue. It doesn't have to be a museum. Maybe it's a mural, maybe it's a dance, maybe it's all of these things. And all of these things have become into the conversation in Bristol. As Bristol City Council supports African heritage communities on their own reparations plan. And perhaps in some ways, that is due to the current administration we have in Bristol. We currently have Europe's first elected Mayor of African Heritage and the Deputy Mayor, Asher Craig, who I believe may be here a little later. Some of you will know that we passed a reparations motion this year, March the 2nd, on the very day of the National Black People's Day of Action 40th anniversary, as we heard earlier. We've passed that reparations motion, as did Lambeth and Islington. The difference is it's not just a document that's going to sit on a website or sit in a file somewhere. We've started the walk to go with that motion. And in Bristol, as you know, our history, vast and large, concerning our history, our journey, and we would have all heard about the statue toppling last year. But prior to that, we set up a legacy steering group, which is convened by the Bristol City Council, but includes a number of stakeholders from the community and other institutions, talking about how Bristol will address its connection to our history. And through that, a steering group within that was formed, and we came up with a project called Project Truth, telling, restoring, understanding our tapestry and history, because that's what it is. We bring together these different threads of our experience to try and envision what we want for the future. So Project Truth was a consultation with African heritage communities. It included your survey and also focus groups and a number of questions about what we want to see in our city in relation to this history, Bristol's connection to the trafficking of enslaved Africans, TTEA. And TTEA is the term that we use instead of what most people say, slave trade. So we're changing the language in Bristol, and that's also significant. It's all on our own terms. The consultation has been completed, the report and the recommendations have now been written, and these are quite wide-ranging, from education to having our own centre of excellence, not modelled on what already exists, but having something new and something led by ourselves. You can go onto Black Southwest Network website to learn more, and the next phase will be implementing the recommendations, and that takes community work, community coming together across all our differences, because as African heritage communities, we're not one community, are we? We come with our differences, but it's about how we pull this together, how we sew this together in readiness, and we're calling it the Pan-Afrikan Plan, again drawing on our African roots and the idea of sewing together. So that's where we are. It's an exciting time. It's a time where we have at least 3 years under the current administration to push this and get what we need to start our process. And hopefully we'll set a benchmark that can be replicated in places like Lambeth, other boroughs in London, London at large, and other cities. But it takes the collaboration and the limboing between the institutions and the community to bring those things together. I'm losing my voice a little, so I'm going to round up now because I know we've got other speakers coming on. Going back to the song, Limbo. Try and listen to the poem by Kamal Brathwaite, and he'll also explain limboing from the depths of what they deemed us to be, which was nothing, but we elevated and rose under the bar like the sun, and we will continue to rise. We're on our trajectory, but we must stay on the road and we must stay together. Limbo, limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo, limbo like we. Limbo, limbo like we. Thank you.
Feel like limbo, limbo like me.